absolutely no signage, and there's no footprints in the snow of children playing outside. $5 million within the past
5.9 million in 2 years. 5.9 million they received in 2 years. That facility right there.
And now we have a group of Somalis telling us in our vehicle right now.
From this daycare center, we headed over to the infamous Quality Learning Center, which actually spells Quality Learing Center on the outside of their sign. That's how blatant this fraud is here at this daycare.
Don't open up!
So this is Quality Learing Center. I meant to say Quality.
Hello. Today we're going to talk about the Learning Center. I'm sure you guys have seen Nick Shirley's video and heard about the fraud that's going on in Minnesota. I, however, have a different hypothesis of what actually this was. This was indeed a front, but what it was actually for is deeper than just a bunch of Somalians that are scamming the system for money. So what I really need you to do is just to start thinking and understanding America's past, because it is repeating itself in this room. So let me just give a backdrop. We have a so-called daycare center that has very little children even going into it, and there are very little children seen around it. But this daycare center gets millions of dollars of US taxpayer money. There's also other medical centers and Medicare front centers that is getting Medicare dollars, different type of tax dollars. Now, many people in the government that is supposed to monitor did point this out, stating there were a lot of discrepancies, but they were told to ignore that and continue to fund the money. So people have done research on it and tracked millions and millions of dollars. Millions of dollars are flowing to these companies and then out to different places, even out of the country. Local Somalians are known to state that their job is protect the homeland, which they refer to as Somalia. Remember that they have a duty to protect their homeland. And all of this comes back to two of the biggest politicians in Minnesota. One being Tim Walz, who appears on the surface just to look like a high school principal, somebody's dad, a computer coder, but he's much more than that. He may give off that personality, but that's not truly who he is. On another level, we have Illhan Omar, first generation American, got her citizenship under questionable ways, and that's something else to bring up. And all of a sudden, her wealth has exploded. So let's put it all together. We have American taxpayer dollars that is growing to groups of people in the United States, that is keeping some of the money for themselves, but also a lot of the money is going to a country that is currently war-torn. Here, what you see on the screen is a photo of Somalia. One thing I do want to point out is that the war is still going on. You have Al-Shabaab and two factions still fighting amongst each other. And as you see here, as I circle, it's called Somaliland, which is groups of people that want their own country and want to break away. And the overall government the very fragile government of Somalia, trying to hold it together. The United States has military base here, so does the Chinese. So the United States, this is a very important strategic area. It cannot fall. Somalia's economy is very fragile. It doesn't help but that large fishing tropes come down here and take all the fish out of the water, hurting the fishermen here. Somalia could have a large fishing industry if the big ships would not come and take all the fish leaving for them to go. But that's an economic study. But it kind of goes into, you have a country that is very poor, that is fighting civil war. The United States is trying to aid this, but they need money. And Congress did not approve it, so they need to get it by other means. This reeks of the Central Intelligence Agency. We have money being funneled overseas to a war-torn country. People are pointing that out in the government, but the government says don't worry about it. To this day, no one's arrested. Nothing's been checked. They just say it's been checked. And it's not just in Minnesota, it's all over the country. It all adds up where this money really goes to. It is going to the war machine. The war machine that is not on paper. A lot of people think that it has to be on paper, it has to be in news for war to be happening. War is happening all over the world constantly. I use an image here of Jason Bourne, Treadstone. You always ask yourself, how do they get funded? Let me back up 1 second. It's very simple. They have the Somalis, who Miss Omar teaches what to do to make some money, but they have to pay her back. She has to get a kickback. She teaches Somalis how to open the businesses, how to understand the law in order to open in these centers, these Medicare centers, these daycare centers, to get funds. They're allowed to keep some of it and make some money, pennies on the dollar. She gets a kickback. That's how she's kind of worth $30 million. Tim Watz gets a kickback as well through campaign contributions and bags of cash to his uncle's house. Some of this money as well has to be sent to Somalia, which somehow is allowed to go through even when it's caught at the airport. Millions of dollars in bags of cash is still allowed to go through. If you tried to do that, you would be arrested. The FBI would be at your house. It's simple, and government does nothing. No one's arrested. It's the agency. So what is the Learing Center really? It's a front. It's a front for war. It's not about racism. It's the usual, what the United States has done. They've done just like the Contra, the wars in South America. The funding had to come from somewhere. And when Congress doesn't want to approve it, just like right now, they close approving, they will get the money somewhere else. Give it a couple months, this case will be closed, and the story will disappear. And the pipeline for funding wars will continue. So, what is really the Learing Center? If you don't believe me, just look at a documentary on the Contra Iran and now see what's going on. It's history repeating itself. You also can look at that at Syria, the new Presidente of Syria. He's just another Saddam Hussein. If he gets out of line, he's gone. Just take a look. Let me know your thoughts. All right.